Alrighty, Lumberjacks, welcome back to another Logging from Scratch episode. So, I got a call first thing this morning. I guess a truck has turned over and all of the wood is spilled all over the road, so we have finally got a contract for our 880. So we're getting paid a decent amount of cash. I think it was, how much was it, 40,000? I'm going to check my little thingy here. I'll only bring this up when we need it. So yeah, 40,000 for this one. We still have that forwarding wood contract that we're going to do on the next section, but because I got this emergency call and it's 40 grand for what sounds like a pretty easy job. So basically all we got to do is we got to find the truck, which should be on the main road here somewhere up towards the mountain. We got to turn her back over, put the load back on it, and we're just going to leave it there, turn around and go home. So it's a pretty easy 40,000. We just got to find it and see what shape it's all in before we can get rolling on it. And then once we're done here, we'll head back to Legion Hills. I do have a couple things I want to do. Build some new buildings for us now that we can afford a couple. And yeah, then we can head off to Ender's Forest to do that forwarding contract there. So I don't know exactly where I'm going on the road here. All I know is it's somewhere up the road on one of the main corners. So I'm thinking it's the corner as we go up the mountain. That's probably where it is here. So let's take a look and see where we end up. But yeah, apparently it tipped over and they just left her there. We can't start the truck or use it for anything because obviously it's going to be pretty flooded with oil from being tipped over there. Oh, here it is right here. I thought it was on the next corner. Alright, well, let's just kind of park off to the side here and do a little assessment before we unload everything. Alright, let's take a look here. Oh, yeah. One of the Flegels. Oh, geez. Oh, that's it. Oh, there's actually quite a bit of a mess here. I didn't think it was going to be this bad. I thought it was going to be longs, too. I didn't think it was shorts. Oh, we got to tip that bad boy back over. Oh, boy. Oh boy, that's not good. Okay, so what we're gonna have to do is, I guess we'll have to flip this guy, which shouldn't be hard to upright that guy. It's a pretty light little trailer. So let's unload this bad boy first. Hop in this guy. Well, it's good that we got a contract for this guy, because holy cow. So for all contracts that I'm going for now, instead of doing all the deductions and all that stuff, I'm just going to include the cost of travel and all that stuff in the price. So, we're making 40,000 off of this one, but it was about 5,000 to transfer the truck over to get it there and back. So, I guess it would have been a $45,000 contract, but we just marked it up as 40. Then we don't have to spend all that time doing all the boring math stuff. We can just kind of do our thing. All right, so let's see what we can do here. We don't want to be too vicious with this stuff. It's not our equipment, so we want to be nice to it. Okay, so we got a real bit of a mess. Actually, let's do the truck first. Let's tip that guy up. So then we can maybe get it just kind of out of the way. And then we'll come back and do the trailer. And this claw is pretty wide, so I don't know how well it's going to go trying to load it onto this trailer. I guess we can slip in between these spots here, depending on the size of the wood. We'll see how you got it loaded. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to very, very carefully tip this guy up here. Okay, I don't really want it to come smashing down, though, so how am I going to... I think it's going to come smashing down whether I like it or not. Just nice and gentle. Oh, there we go. This would be where you need to put a tire or something on the ground. Oh, well. I mean, she's pretty much damaged as it is, I think, but hopefully that's okay. All right, so the truck's uprighted, whatever you want to call it. Uprighted. Okay, so let's do this trailer here now. Again, we don't want to be too crazy here. We're just gonna loop onto. Oh my goodness! As I see, not too crazy. Smash it. Okay, so hopefully I can just kind of tip it up. Actually, the weight's kind of in the middle, so maybe we'll grab it in the middle. Let's kind of go right about there. I'm kind of extending out a bit, but I think we'll be all right. Just kind of bite. Actually, let's get a little more of that steak. Yeah, right there. Oh, no. There's too much weight in the back end. That's a problem. Oops. Oh, jeez. Okay. So let's go like this. We'll get nice and close. Well, not too close. We don't want to hit it. We'll hook this back stake here. Give it a little lift. Ooh. There we go. That's kind of what I wanted it to do, sort of. Perfect. All right, so now we got to figure out how we're going to load this sucker, because they are going to still use this trailer again. We're going to have to get it in perspective and get it all loaded up. See, those actually landed kind of where I wanted them to, so that worked out. This one, on the other hand, is not where I want it, so let's see if we can maybe scoop that guy out of here. If I can just give it a little... There we go. Little bite. Perfect. Okay, so those two, like I said, are pretty much right where I want them. We could even probably shift those up just a teeny bit. My real question is, how much room do we have in the front bunk? Oh, yeah, we have lots. This will be easy. This will be easy. We can even shift those over a little more. I thought we were going to be pretty tight on the front there, but I think we're golden. There we go. So topic of the day, before I forget, because I always get tied up in my little adventures here and I forget. So topic of the day, somebody said, I'm going to assume the question here a little bit, but they said talking to people versus not talking to people. So I'm going to assume you're talking like introvert versus extrovert in a way, like people who like to go be outgoing and hang out in the public versus people who like to stay at home and never leave the house. So they said, I guess it's introverts versus extroverts. I swear I've done this. I swear I've talked about this subject before, but we're going to do it again because I can't remember. It's probably a million years ago. So what am I? Let's go with that. I am an introvert and an extrovert. I am just as happy in a crowd of 500 people as I am in a crowd of nobody and being isolated in a cabin in the woods. I strive quite well in both categories, so... but I know lots of friends of mine even that are very introverted. They don't like to go. They don't like to leave their house. They like to stay home with their loved ones and just, do them. Which is, I think that's a great way to live too. I mean, and don't get me wrong, I get tired of people eventually. I mean, I can hang out with groups kind of here and there, but if I start hanging out with them too often, it gets pretty tiring. I guess it's like anything. Everything in moderation, right? You don't want to spend way too long alone because you'll probably go a little bit bat crazy, but you don't want to spend too much time with a lot of people either, because I think you'll start to find things about those people that maybe annoy you. You might get frustrated. There is a healthy amount of time to spend with people. I guess spouses is another good example, because I know people who absolutely love their better halves, wives, girlfriends, whatever, but once they live in close quarters for such a long time together, they start to develop little annoyances about each other. I mean, that's just human nature. It can be your best friend or your wife or your favorite family, whatever, uncle, cousin, aunt, and if you spend too much time with those people, I think humans just have a natural tendency to start to the novelty of another person's company wears off really fast when you're locked in close quarters and you're having to get along with them whether you like it or not, kind of sort of say. So, I mean, when it comes to, in general, talking to people versus not talking to people, if we want to really touch the subject, I would say, I don't know, it's a 50-50 for me. Like I said, I mean, you guys in the comments, what do you think? Like, are you the kind of person that likes to really have a big conversation group, friends and stuff? Or are you the kind of person that would rather just spend your time alone doing your own thing, not really talking to people? And I mean, you could take it a step further for that question if you want to, and, make it like a sort of a social anxiety kind of thing. So I know I even have some close friends that are, I wouldn't say they're scared to go in public. I mean, that's kind of pushing it. But they get a little different around bigger groups of people. They get a little more anxious, I guess. And I think that's pretty normal. Especially the more rural you get. If you have people coming from the country, I find people who live in the city are a lot more extroverty because, well, assuming they're people who, were raised in the city and had that busy lifestyle. But I find them to be a little more extroverty, willing to go out and be more happy and active and stuff. just simply because they're constantly exposed to people. It's not like they hardly know what it's like to not be around people, so it just becomes a norm for them. Same with like bigger urban centers in different countries too. Different cultures have a lot more closer social norms than some of ours, right? I was born and raised in a very rural area where, within, maybe 50 kilometers of me, there was maybe 30 other people, and they all lived on farms. So there was not a lot of human contact in that sense growing up. But then once I got into school and stuff, and I started really meeting a lot of people, and I became a lot more of an extrovert. I like to entertain and laugh and have fun with the guys and the girls and fun and just have a hoot. But at the same time, like I said, because I was raised in kind of a rural setting, I'm just as comfortable if I was left alone for 6 months and don't talk to anybody. Like, I'm totally fine with that. It doesn't really matter to me. But yeah, like I said, I like to hear from you guys. So what's your ideal situation to be in for talking versus not talking to people? Actually, I was wondering. I wonder if maybe what we'll do once I get this loaded, because technically we can take the trailer. Maybe I'll bring the trailer and I'll just park it at the mill and just leave it there for now. I can't drive this truck, like this blue truck. I can't use that because it's going to need a mechanic to take a look at before we can drive that thing. Because once anything's tipped over like that, you don't want to try to start that, if it even starts at all. All that oil tipped over on its side for that long in the engine. Woo-hoo. Not good. Not good at all. So we're going to leave that guy alone. But what I might do is I might detach the low bed, and I'm going to drag this back to the mill. I don't think it was really part of the contract, but you know what? Since this is our first contract with the 880, I want to do a really good job, and I want them to hire me back again if another contract comes up. Because I'm sure we're going to see more logging truck accidents as things get busier here, as we move into our heavier part of the logging season. Now we just got to figure out we can fit all this stuff on here. I guess if I wanted to add to that question, so people in the comments who are going to respond to this, so first of all, do you prefer being more of an introvert, staying indoors and not talking to people, or an extrovert, being out partying, hanging out with friends, being social? So that'll be part one of the question. Part two of the question would be, how can I pick this log up? Part two of the question would be, where were you raised? Like, what area were you raised in? Were you more of a kind of an introverty area where you're like out in the rural farmy lands kind of spot, or were you raised in a city? I bet we could do a little bit of a statistics thing here. And I bet you anything, oops, we probably didn't want that little bit, but you know what? That's an extra piece they can have. But I bet you anything, people who were raised rurally are probably a lot less likely to be entertained by the idea of being an extrovert, while people in the city are probably less entertained by the idea of being an introvert. Maybe. It's just a kind of a theory. I don't know. It might not be true. But worth a shot. So why don't we hook onto this guy? Man, this will be the easiest contract we ever did. I like this. 40 grand for this. Now, these jobs don't come around very often, but I'm sure glad we have the equipment when it did. See, I told you buying the 880 was a good idea. I told you guys. Oh, jeez. We messed that one up. At first, I'm not going to lie, I was thinking, oh man, why did I buy this thing? We don't even have any work for it, but now I'm getting pretty excited. That, and once we do that Enders, I heard word, I don't know if it's going to be me though, but I heard word they're going to want somebody as a loaderman to do the loading part. So I'm doing the forwarding with their rented forwarder that they got over there, but I'm going to talk to them, and if I can get the contract to use my 880 as the loader, oh my god, dude, we're going to make so much money. It'll be so sweet. I mean, loader, man. Jeez, I can make crazy money. And, they're probably going to pay me by the load out there, so that'll be awesome. And if we bring that much wood back, I mean, it depends how much wood is there, but if we bring all that wood back, like, holy, we can make a killing. Then we can start our big logging company, and we can buy new machines, move on, take on bigger contracts. Oh, man, I'm excited. I'm surprised there's no damage to this trailer. This thing actually working really good. Still rolls. I mean, trailers generally, when they tip over, there's not much maintenance you got to do unless you break a brake or pop a tire or something or bend a rim. But she looked like she laid down pretty evenly on there, so I think we'll be good. But yeah, talk about easy contract. Woohoo! Grizzly Mountain, keep knocking trucks over. Well, actually, we don't want to suggest that. Safety first, but at the same time, I want more money. Here, maybe we'll just drop this right at the mill here. Or actually, let's not go across that bridge because it has bad results. So let's just park this right next to... Actually, let's park it by the door. Sorry, I'm really just driving all over the place here. I'm just going to park it right here. And then when those guys come back and clean up, they can just come get this. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Looks good. All right, so let's head her back. We're going to grab our 880, load her up, and man, back to Legion Hills, I guess. And like I said, there's a few pieces of equipment, a few buildings I want to put down in our area, because now we got a little bit more money. If we keep popping these contracts like this, we'll be able to buy a whole bunch of cool stuff. Set up our own little place, make it all pretty, and then, yeah, we'll just keep burning through these contracts, working some jobs. I need to get a processor too. Well, I mean, we have the 880. That's the coolest part. We have the most expensive part, which is the 880. Now all we got to do is actually get the attachments for it that we need. So we got a grapple, which is awesome. We probably need to get a processor head for it. I haven't decided whether I want a fixed head or whether I want a dangle head. That'll be something we decide. Something we decide later. But like I said, I want to use this guy as my main contractor toy here. Like, we paid good money for this thing. It's about time we start making money off of it, right? But I mean, if we keep these contracts up, we're going to be making crazy dough. This thing will pay for itself in a few trips. But like I said, at the same time, you want it to use it for stuff. Like, I don't want it to just sit around and look pretty. We got to put this sucker to work. Oh, we better put the head down here. There we go. We'll just leave it a little bit angle in there. Pull that up. Well, we better turn that off before we take off too. Beauty. All right, so let's whip this guy around here. Yeah, like I said, we'll just leave the truck there. It's not blocking the road or anything, but we got her flipped up right for him. And we went an extra mile on this contract, and we brought that load. Well, not only did we load it, but we brought it to the mill for him. So I think they'll be pretty happy about that one. I also need to buy one of these trucks. We're using the old mill beater here, but every time we drive it, it's costing us like $5,000 to $6,000 to move stuff, which is brutal. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to end up saving up some money and buying our own truck and our own low bed, and then we can just haul our own equipment around. But like I said, one contract at a time, we'll get there. Now, once we go to Enders, it's probably going to be a bit more because it's a bit more of a trip out there. Probably be about 10 grand-ish, I think, before we'll be able to get out there. So, as long as the contracts are big and good over there, we should be all good to go. All right, well, I guess that's pretty much it for this one, guys. We finished our contract up. We're just heading our way back to Legion Hills now, and when we get back, we're going to maybe look at some areas, clean up some stuff, and start putting down some buildings. Should be pretty good. Alrighty, guys, well, I'm going to wrap it up on this one. So if you guys like the episode, leave a like, leave a comment. Do not forget to subscribe, and if you're in the bush, don't forget to hug a tree. Alrighty, guys, we'll catch you on the next one. See ya.